How are you, BookTube? My name's Maria and welcome to another Friday Reads as we talk in between the worst of the noise from the construction site across the road. The one next door isn't making much noise at the moment. The one across the road is busy cleaning up the mess they made during the week, which is good, except that, if you can hear it, is the sound of their road sweeper cleaning up the muck that they just left. Diet Coke, it's too early in the day. So we are trying to, I'm just putting this up in the window, we are trying to film this Friday Reads in time to upload. So should we just crack on? Let's just crack on. The only book completed this week is Louise, Ellen Cassedy's The End of the World is a Cul-de-sac. And an amazing book. If you're only going to read one book this week, you should read this book. This is a series of 15 short stories, and in the short stories we have characters who become, is how I'd like to put it. You start off not knowing quite who they are and what's happening, and you found out what happened by the end. So it's not in the sense of a short story, the beginning, the middle, conclusion, you know, a story that occurs. It's a story that has already occurred and you're told most of these what has occurred. What is amazing about this collection though is that all 15 stories are strong. Liz Nugent.
It actually is Louise Kennedy. Liz Nugent is only blurb in the front.
And this is her first collection, and there's a real maturity in the writing that really comes through. Their characters tend to either be a female protagonist or the central character they're talking about, if it's a male protagonist, the one that they're thinking about is actually a female, usually. They're all very sad and desolate. It's the end of the world. That's the name of the title story, the first story, but it is kind of in that desolation theme. It's set around quite a few areas in Ireland, a lot along the west coast and places like Sligo. But there's characters from Northern Ireland, etc. as well. And it is full of beautiful scenery and beautiful occurrences and memories, and yet so much mundane things. Like a cul-de-sac is very much like, you know, just the end of a house in a estate, you know, something ordinary when you come from the suburbs. There's a lot of cul-de-sacs. So it's a great name. The book collection has a great name. The book title is a great name for the stories. But yeah, the stories are poignant, but they're full of ordinary details, such as, you know, getting your chicken fillet roll from your local spar, and, you know, I mean, and the can of Coke and the brand name of can of Coke they got, and the brand of their cigarettes. A mother putting 4 Weetabix into a bowl and then feeding it to the baby, 1 for me, 1 for you, and then the baby being hungry, so feeding it 1 for me, 2 for you. Just full of mundane things in the midst of these beautiful, beautiful stories. Absolutely fabulous collection, and I fully recommend it to those who like literary fiction and short stories. So once I started reading, okay, one I thought actually was going to be literary fiction, but isn't as literary as I thought it was. It's definitely a thriller, and I should have remembered this. I got out, so it's out by Natsuo Kirino, and it's translated by Snyder. I am currently reading this with Zoe Beck, and we have done 5 parts. So tonight, Friday and Saturday will be the last 2 parts. So, you know, we're quite a bit through. But when I first got this now, it was because I just read Ring, and I'd read it for the BookTube-a-thon. Remember that used to be on? And I wanted horror novels, but there wasn't any horror novels in the shop. And I went to Chapters in Dublin, and so I was recommended, try it out. It's gruesome, and it is gruesome. So something that was close to horror, Japanese horror, as I could get. And then I had decided I was going to read it for a thriller-a-thon that year, and I never did. And that's what it is. It is a thriller. But somehow seeing it on, whose channels have you seen it on now? We're seeing it on Simon Savage's, and I've forgotten, but I will remember. And for somehow I assumed it was going to be more literary than it is. It's not literary. It is pure thriller. It is pulp noir. It is based on a group of women working in a boxed lunch factory, and one of them murders her husband. This is all in the background and in the synopsis that you get at the back of the book. One of the women kills her husband, and so they have to. The women all work together, and they decide to dispose of the body. It is quite gruesome, but I'll leave everything else until later on because we've limited time for Friday reads, and this one is going to be talked about again. The other thing that's been in a buddy read is the Faulkner in August 2021 reading group on Voxer and on BookTube are reading Sanctuary Requiem for a Nun. It's my first Faulkner, and I've actually found it very impenetrable at the moment. I've read the first 8 chapters. I have listened to it on audio as well. I think I will re-listen to it on audio tomorrow. I've started filming bits and pieces for a vlog, so if I do a vlog on this, I'm not quite happy with everything the way it was going, so I might refilm some stuff tomorrow after just rereading the chapters on audio. But so far I'm actually quite enjoying it. I took the advice I was given: just relax, let Faulkner do what Faulkner does, and just wait for the story to emerge. But I found it quite easy to follow at the moment, and really enjoying it. A book that's a little bit more difficult to follow, maybe, is another book I'm reading from Women in Translation. By the way, Out has been read for Women in Translation Month by both me and Amy at Zoe Beck. Hurricane Season is by Fernando Melchor and is translated by, I thought it was saying it there, but it's winner of the Pen Award, Sophie Hughes. Problems with library books and ring lights. You had to angle them. This is about a murder of a person called Witch, because she's believed to be a witch in Mexico. It's told, I've read about 100 pages of it, so I'm about 45% through. It's told from different perspectives in each chapter, and it is written in quite a lyrical language, but with a lot of swear words in it, by the way. The characters are quite horrible. That's them outside cleaning the road after all the building works. So right, and so yeah, it's taught from all their different perspectives. The language is lyrical. The chapters don't exist. Sorry, the chapters exist. The paragraphs don't exist within chapters, and there's very few sentences within a chapter. So it's all sort of ran together in the stream of consciousness. But it's lyrical. You can feel the alliteration through it. But the characters themselves use they're horrible to each other. They use an awful lot of swear words. And if you don't like that, you would definitely not like this book. So that's all I'm saying so far. Drood is me trying to finish a book I started in January. So we got this far. We're about 3/4 way through now at this stage. Dan Simmons is writing a book about Charles Dickens' last few years. If you don't know, Dan Simmons is a horror and a fantasy writer. He's writing about Charles Dickens' last few years, writing Edwin Drood. But there's a supernatural occurrence, and the person who's supposed to be writing the book is Wilkie Collins, and he's supposed to have sealed it and not let it be read until now, because obviously this is not going to show Charles Dickens in the best light. It doesn't show Wilkie Collins in the best light either. So just in this little section, just to catch up in this week, we did have a huge argument between Charles Dickens and Wilkie Collins over the plot of The Moonstone. So do not read this book until you read The Moonstone. That's all I'm going to say for this week. Also in the car, another horror novel, since we're here. Eaten by budgies. I don't do that, budgies do it. We're 13 chapters in Heart-Shaped Box, Joe Hill, a simple story about a man who buys a ghost over the internet and is haunted by the ghost. And only 100 pages in, and this, Joe Hill is very much Stephen King's son. We have already had really, quite ghostly scenes, and we have already discovered why the ghost is haunting him. So this is moving quite fast paced for your normal haunted mystery horror kind of book. So I'll be interested where it's going to. It's just as long as it takes me to listen to it in the car, because commuting is limited because we're supposed to work from home most of the time. So we'll see what we shall see. We've done Sanctuary, we've done that. Okay, so what are we reading next? I blame Sean the Book Maniac. He had, so I'll link the video down below. Ellen Cassedy is one of his secret reading projects. She is a translator. It's a shame because it's a library book. So we're going to do our best. So On the Land and Stories by Yenta Mash. These are translated from the Yiddish, and he had Ellen Cassedy on his channel, and she is just gorgeous. She's talking about this book. She reviewed this book in such a way that I just absolutely had to read it, and I know that she's written a couple of books herself in her own right, so I'll have to read them. So these are another series of short stories. It's going to have a really strong competition now with The End of the World is a Cul-de-sac. But Sean gave it a 5 star, so we shall see. So that's just being started. And the other one that's being started is Boys Don't Cry, which I'm reading for Read More Irish Women. And it's Fiona Scarlett. So Fiona Scarlett's book is about 2 boys. His father is in the gangland. Their mother is quite abused by their father, and it's their story, and it's set in this little Dublin. That's about all I know. So that's my Friday reads. Sorry about the sound. There's literally nothing I can do. They will stop about 6 o'clock, but that's too late to upload, so we just had to crack on. Meanwhile, I hope whatever you're reading this week that you enjoyed it. I will catch up with you if you have Friday and read some catch-ups and things. And until next time, bye now.